Hello, everyone. Today we are chatting with European and US energy data using AI without programming and getting all of the analysis made by Claude Code. As you can see, if we ask one question like, show me the cross-border flows between France and Germany this week and the US LNG exports to Europe, the AI agent, since it has got connections to the Python libraries that we have developed in Datons, it can request the information with a caching system that creates a database system in your computer, downloading all of the information so that it can even execute the same code that will analyze the information and give you the precise answers that you need. And furthermore, you will get that code in your computer to review and see that they have done it with precision as you need with the codes. Here we are presenting which have been the updates for these two libraries, python-entsoe and python-eia, which is Europe and US energy data APIs respectively. So what's new is that we have built in CLI, which is command line interface, so that AI that is very good at executing codes with the terminal, it can process the information, and the outputs you get, AI can review them so that it can get instant feedback to analyze the data and give you the answers you need very fast. Also, the agent skill has been shipped inside the package, which is inside the library. When you install it, you already have the instructions on how to work with it. So Python doesn't need to ask the library or review the code of the library. Then we have got Parquet caching system so that even if you are offline, you can still access the data that you had previously downloaded, which is in your home folder by default. Then we have got multiple value parameters, like getting the information from multiple countries and indicators at the same time. Remember that this is datons.com streams. If you visit the URL, you will get the information of, one sec. There we are. If you go here, datons.com streams, you will get all of the libraries, live streaming recordings like this one that we are doing to your inbox every week with the links. If you go to the newsletter section, you will see that in the past issue that was published a couple of days ago, we had the summary of what we developed. And here you can see all of the new articles like Claude Code skills for energy data, in this case, information from Spanish energy data, also from ENTSO-E with Europe. And if you click here, you will get access to the article with the instructions for setting up the whole system, explaining everything step by step, and how you can develop it for yourself. And here you get some of the examples of the results. Also, some other analysis, like in Python-eia, whenever I publish something, it's going to be always a practical case where you apply the technology we have developed right into a specific practical case, as you can see here, downloading the information from US energy data step by step. Here you get the data frame from the California system operator, and there you can see the mix in California, which is a lot of natural gas, and also the blue one, which is solar energy. As they say, the sunshine states. And there you can see some other comparisons. So if you want to stay updated, go here, leave us the email. We'll send just one email per week with all of the updates that we are publishing every week, which is a lot of really high quality content for you to streamline your processes and learn Python. Now, going back to the presentation, let me show you what we are going to cover today, which is both libraries, python-entsoe and US energy data. We can ask in plain English whichever question, and we'll get the answers executed by the AI. So what's new in these two libraries? The same thing that I have already told you: built-in CLI, agent skills, Parquet's caching system, multi-value params. And in today's live demo, we are gonna get the cross-border flows, day-ahead price comparison, US energy data like LNG exports, and also combine both information, because in the same conversation, if the agents can access both data endpoints, you can infer the AI, you can make the AI infer information for you and make a lot of batch queries at the same time. So the tech stack we are going to use is Claude Code, the AI agent to develop the codes, python-entsoe to query energy data from Europe, python-eia for the US, and the Parquet caching system. Without further ado, let's get started with it. If you've got any questions whatsoever, please let me know in the comments. You can interrupt, you can suggest, you can demand me, hey, I would like to do this analysis. Can you do it for me, please? I will be very glad to do it. Let me see where I can see the, okay. Also, if you see this later, you can also ask questions and I will address them properly. So now, how can we work in this case? So if I go to the downloads folder here in my computer, I can create a new file folder for practical case, US Europe, and then simply drag and drop. Now, to install the tools and have Claude Code with Visual Studio, you need to go, let me close these ones, which some errors. You need to go to the marketplace, search for Claude Codes. There you can see it, you enable it, and now you would get in the menu bar, once you install it, Claude Code, but make sure that you click on show and run commands, Claude Code, open in the sidebar, and there we have the chat interface embedded into Visual Studio so that it can get access to the folder system to create files, execute Python code, etc., etc., etc. So now I'm gonna tell it to follow the instructions to install the libraries that we have got in today's streaming, which are python-eia. Let me copy the link address. I always like to put a plan folder here so that whenever I create a file, I can reference all of the links that I'm working with and give it to the chat. Also the one of python-entsoe, we execute, and there we are. So one of the first things that we are gonna do in this streaming is that how can we make the simple questions to the chat, like these ones, for example, that we saw at the beginning, like show me cross-border flows between France and Germany this week and US LNG exports to Europe. So let me ask that to the chat. Just show me cross-border flows between France and Germany this week and the US LNG exports to Europe. There we have it. And now, very important thing is that you pass the proper information of the instructions. If you go to the tutorial in the blog, you can see that when we want Claude Code, let's say for Europe, information, the first thing we need to do is install the library and ensure that you have got the latest version in the terminal, which you can also access if you click here, show and run commands, terminal, you go down, and then you say pip install python-entsoe, very important, upgrades, so that the system gets the latest library version. Now, we do the same for the EIA, upgrades. Now we have got the latest version for the libraries. We can, in Claude Codes, ask for that information. But first, let's check if we need to do something, because in the tutorial, we need to get an API key, which you can ask following this tutorial, ENTSO-E transparency platform, which is having problems. Let me do it with the EIA, US energy data. And here is where you get the API key. You fill this form, they'll send you an email with the API key, and then you can configure it by running this command. Go back to the terminal, and from here, you specify the code that they give you in this computer. You press enter, and that key is configured. I have it already on my system, so I won't do it again. Hopefully I don't get any errors. And then the following step is to add the skill in the projects. What is this, the skill? So we should execute both of these commands, and which are in the library github.com Datons python-eia. We go to the issues. No, sorry. We go to the codes. And from here, if you go to the library package, we can see the agents skills, which is a file indicating how to work with it. We copy it, and then we create it here. First Claude, then skills, and finally we put the skill of EIA slash skill.md. And in this file, we paste all of the instructions, as you can see here. We have to do the same for the ENTSO-E library. So let me do it here. Python-entsoe. As RC, agents, skill, copy, and here we do the same. ENTSO-E, skill, MD. Now we paste the code, and now they have got the instructions for knowing how to work with these tools. So inside the conversation, we can create a new one so that it can detect what we are asking. And if we press the slash and ENTSO-E, and also the EIA, it should detect the skills. However, sometimes you don't get it here, but if it doesn't, we will check it out and we execute. Because quite often, instead of running from Visual Studio, It knows the information. So this is good. So you can see here how without programming nothing at all, just installing and setting up the machines, it's running a command to query the information that goes from these dates, 23rd of February until the 4th of March, which is today, from France to Germany. And we get the information in a table. So if we execute, yes, let me bypass the permissions so that it can run on and on. Here is asking to the skill from the EIA. Apparently the ENTSO-E is having some problem. The same chat is even reinstalling the library because it's detecting some problems. So let's see. They can make it work, which it seems that's the case. Amazing. And here is where it's executing the code. You see? It should get the outputs. But there is a catching problem that sometimes the code can be like this. Like you have many programs installed and you need to review if there are some errors. But thank God we have got AI to do it. It's doing it itself. I haven't programmed anything. And there you can see that they solved the issue. And here they get the information, like which routes there are for natural gas data in the EIA. Again, this is all code that Python, the terminal, the AI agent is running by itself. Here we get more information about which type of data we can access, and it will eventually get that information, the main one we asked. I think here it's starting to get some data. Yeah, now it's getting the information. This is big. I have many things installed in my computer. The errors. Let me check 1 second. Can you use? This is a problem that sometimes we should apply. Instead of relying on getting an external dependency on the library of Python, etc., I'm going to ask reinstall the libraries, python-eia and python-entsoe with run, UV. And in this case, but not there, sometimes you need to have the libraries in the same repo that you're working with so that you ensure it's using the proper versions. But here you see that it's still missing the caching module. I might need to fix. So repos, I'm gonna ask the chat to fix this issue and publish a new version so that we can have the problem solved. Then I will repeat what we are doing. So for this issue that we had, the library should pick up the push that the agent has just done it, and it has updated the library like in real time. And here we can see how it has released a new version. So if you go to the details, they have completed the job by releasing a new version. You can see here. Has it been published to PyP? PyP is the repo where we have the libraries. It's like a repository of Python libraries. If you go here and you search for python-eia, you can see the latest released, and it should have the updated version in a very few seconds. Also, if you find problems with the library when you work on your own, you can submit an issue here and I will address it. I think that now is building the publish to the PyP. Here it's running the codes, and we should see the new version published very soon. So here we have got python-eia 2.1, and we reload. In ENTSO-E, here we get half a minute ago, it has been solved. All right, so we are good to go. So let me go back 1 second at the beginning, simulating that we are gonna have a new session. So you start right from the beginning using these two skills and the query you want to ask. In any case, I think here we should ask install new versions of python-eia and python-entsoe. And with this, it should solve the problem and then get the information. Yes. Here it's getting the information. You can see here the cross-border flows between France and Germany, although for March there wasn't none. Sometimes the chat is asking for the routes or even the help on how to use it. And here we start getting the results. But I'm gonna move on from here and I'm gonna tell to directly create the Python codes files to analyze, to answer my question and execute it. And from there, it will create the libraries, the Python codes, it will execute, and we will get the results. It's taking too much time, so let me. I'm gonna reference the skills because sometimes there are this problem that the AI agent gets a bit confused on the resources it's got. There we get the results of the meaning of each thing, like imports of natural gas, great. All of this being executed by the chat itself. We are not doing anything of codes. More information. And now that it has got all of the information on how to access the data retrospectively, because you can see they have the outputs from how the library is structured, etc., which right now I think it's a bit inefficient because this information should have been already in the library embedded, and I will probably ask those questions to improve the library later. I'm gonna create a file here. I'm gonna tell improvements, features. So now it's running the codes for the US LNG exports to Europe. And here we can see with the EIA client that it has got the codes and executing the functions from this library. It accesses the information and we will get the results very soon. It's like taking some time to develop to execute the code because it's the first time it's downloading the data and it has a default limit of 5,000 rows per call to return. In this case, the library has itself a caching mechanism, so that if we go to my home folder, the EIA or config EIA, here we should be able to see that inside it should download the data with the caching system, but I think it's failing a little bit. We will check later. Nonetheless, it's downloading the data into a file, as you can see here. If we reload, that it gets the data. I'm gonna ask later the chat. Today's conversation, what should we improve in the libraries? It has written another file, US LNG exports to Ural. I think it has modified something. And it will re-execute based on the new knowledge it has obtained from the queries. This should be faster, but I'll see what I can do to make this faster, working with these libraries. When I had executed, I think I had it on my system installed already and some caching of data. That's why it got so fast. I'm gonna open the conversation. But if I go here and then I rewind, or yeah, I'm gonna rewind or fork. Yeah, fork of the current conversation. I'm gonna call it library improvements. And I'm gonna tell, based on this, how should I improve the libraries? And they should say something about it, like developing a plan. With Claude Code, at the same time, you can work on two different conversations, as you can see here. But give me 1 second, because when I got here, I wanted to run in dangerously skip permissions so that it doesn't ask every time. Now I paste it. And execute. And from here, it should propose later some improvement to the libraries that I'm going to publish as well, so that you can get the latest version working properly. Also, what I don't know is, yeah, I mean, it's getting the data from 2024 until 2025. That's hell of a data. And ask for 1 month only, because otherwise it's gonna take ages to download the whole information. Anyway, so the session is gonna be about fixing the library. Now that we are working from a clean environment, we are getting these errors. I'm sorry, guys, about the problem, but I thought I had made the proper checks when I had uploaded the library. Even in the same library, I have got a testing system, but let me check. Maybe I don't have the test for the CLI, the command line tool, and that's also one of the things that is failing. So here they get the results of the catalog. Hmm. Apparently there is also a problem with, no. Like apparently some data is being returned with only year and month because we are using a different data catalogs from the ones I had tested. So that's why we are getting these problems that I didn't check. Anyway, now the screen got messed up. We will fix it. We will fix it. In any case, I'm gonna also publish some tutorials on how to like recorded tutorials with proper examples on how to do this. If you want to stay tuned into them, you can get here the blog or the streams. Leave us your email, and every week we are sending tutorials and everything we publish online, so that you can get it and get these things solved, because it is not working. Not working. Sorry guys about this. Now we are getting some information, at least. And the chat keep working. Also, the problem of the caching system, it should be. The problems of vibe coding. I rushed too much to publish the libraries and getting these failures. Even though the chats can reach there, there are many things that can be more efficient, like consulting the data catalogs and have more information updated. So I'm gonna do that today. can you, I'm gonna start a new chat here. I'm gonna say skills. Let's analyze energy data from the US by technology. Because I think that even the export of LNG is impossible. Now let me ask for the new issue. Ah, okay. So the caching is working, but it's not. Okay. So if I go to the cache system, EIA, natural gas, move, monthly, there we get the data. Okay. There we get it too. Fair points. ENTSO-E, generation from France. Prices day ahead, very few. Cross border, 2 kilowatts bytes, not too much. The other library that I had, yeah, it's working. Why do you keep asking? Don't you have a catalog on the possible data values so that we don't have to hit the API every time? Yeah. Okay, guys. So let's do this. Let's leave it here. I'll continue on my own, fixing these issues and publishing more tutorials with the code already executed and step by step so that you know how to work with the library and we don't have these errors. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying this analysis like on the go without like real life demos, and we get these errors which are normal and part of the process. But I'll do my best next time for publishing the tutorials before to the session and ensuring that they are working properly for the next time. So stay tuned for the next sessions that we are going to have in the upcoming weeks about the same libraries for energy data. If you want to take a look to the prior sessions, for example, last week we built a dashboard with the library with ENTSO-E, European data, and here you can see how at the very end we built a system of front-end application where even you could have drag and drop features with synchronized charts, zoom in, here, and you can review the information at the same time of many charts, in this case, data from Europe. So this and many other tutorials, contents will be out. If you want to stay updated, go to the get updates, leave us your email and receive the knowledge. Take care. Bye-bye.